What's the story, everyone? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. Tyrone are through to an Ulster Senior Football semi-final after a comfortable 8-point victory over Cavan at Healy Park. In the end, it is Tyrone who progress through to yet another Ulster semi-final. And it's Cavan, unfortunately, the reigning Ulster champions that have been knocked out. Will probably see another provincial champion of last year get knocked out a little bit later as Tipperary go up against Kerry. But in the end, it's Cavan who lose. And look, listen, this game went very much as I expected and very much as I predicted in many ways. You know, Cavan, I knew Cavan would show a lot of fight in this game. I knew they'd be competitive. I knew they'd put it up to Tyrone. Players like Gearóid McKernan in particular were fantastic for Cavan, even in the first half. Although Thomas Galligan only kicked a point, I thought a lot of the work he done around the middle was brilliant. Conor Moyna was a fantastic addition coming back into the team, in particular in the first half. Obviously went off early in the second half with an injury, I believe. So look, listen, Cavan were competitive. They stayed in the game, in particular in the first half. They done what they had to do. And, you know, Cavan, although they've lost this game and although they never really look like ever winning the game, you know, especially towards the end of the first half and the second half and so on, you know, we know they have quality in the team. There's a lot of quality in there, and they should be, you know, absolute favourites to come back up from Division 4 next year. But it is just mad. Like, you look at Cavan in this game and you think, like, how on earth have they gone down to Division 4? How on earth did they lose to Wicklow? You know, and all that kind of defeats, and it wasn't good preparation leading into this game, and it definitely did affect them. As for Tyrone, look, listen, brilliant response, obviously, to the Kerry defeat. They controlled the game really well. They showed a lot of, you know, obviously Mickey Hart was there for a number of years, obviously the past 15, 20 years, up until this season, obviously stepped away. In comes Brian Dooher and Fergal Logan. And, you know, they've obviously adopted their own style. You know, there's a lot more kick passing and whatnot. But I could see that kind of Mickey Hart, you know, era kind of in Tyrone's play today. And I think they needed it. They needed to be patient on the ball. They needed to play it around at different stages, take the sting out of Cavan's midfield. And they've done exactly that. And look, listen, Darren McCurry, what a player, what a performance. One of the best players so far in 2021, if you were to combine the league and championship. 10 points on the day. You know, poor Cian Riley just couldn't get anywhere near him. Darren McCurry was turning him inside and out throughout the entirety of the game. And Cian Riley actually got substituted right before the first half. And Luke Fortune actually come on. Done a bit of a better job on him, but ultimately Darren McCurry was just in fantastic form. He really, really was. And that was one of the main reasons for Tyrone getting this victory. Noel Sutton, I thought, was impressive as well. Hit 2 points on the day. And even with Rowan McNamee getting sent off for a stupid kind of punch or slap early in the second half, it didn't really make much of a difference. And Tyrone were always very comfortable, particularly towards the end of the first half. That was really when Tyrone managed to pull away. And even without Conor McKenna, who I don't even think was on the bench today, don't even think he came on at all in this game. I don't know if that was an injury. They still had enough, and Cathal McShane obviously returned as well, hitting 2 points, I believe, from what I counted. So, you know, he's another really top-class player to come off the bench, to make a difference, to make an impact. And, you know, if Tyrone can keep Darren McCurry in that form, if Cathal McShane can be even maybe a little bit more fit for the Donegal game, because we've seen at different stages, the match sharpness just wasn't there for Cathal McShane. He lost the ball on 1 or 2 occasions. But to be fair to him, you know, kicking 2 points coming off the bench against the Cavan team that certainly were very aggressive and were very tough on Conor McKenna, or on Cathal McShane, I should say. I think he deserves a lot of credit for hitting 2 points. He looked sharp at different stages as well. Like, the match sharpness wasn't completely there, but for a player that hasn't played in over a year, you know, this is a player who obviously got injured during the club season, I believe, last year, you know, around the first lockdown. So for him to come back and look as good as he did, fair play. Like, that was very impressive. And you know, even Matty Donnelly in midfield as well, you know, dictating the play at different times. Conor Moyler as well. Tyrone just took the sting out of Cavan at every area of the pitch and every way they could. And for Cavan, it was going to need a monumental effort in the second half, and they just couldn't quite get it. Martin Riley, I thought, was relatively quiet, just didn't cause enough problems in there for Tyrone. They just probably weren't clinical enough in front of goal as well. And even Patrick Lynch as well, who unfortunately probably didn't have his absolute best game either. And it was up to the likes of Gearóid McKernan really try and rally the Cavan troops. And I think this year in particular, there's been a lot of Cavan players that probably haven't performed to their absolute best. You know, you're looking at their defence, the likes of Padraig Faulkner and Killian Brady and Jason Loughlin and even Martin Riley as well. But Gerald McKernan was brilliant in this game, and he's probably one of the players that can hold his head up high, in my opinion. But look, listen, in the end, you know, for Cavan, they're out. Their championship is over. For Tyrone, they go on to an Ulster semi-final against the winner of either Donegal or Derry. And look, listen, Tyrone will certainly have a chance. They'll be as competitive as they can in that Ulster semi-final. The record, obviously, against Donegal in the championship in the past couple of years certainly hasn't been fantastic, but they'll certainly be competitive in that game. They'll certainly be there or thereabouts in that match. There's no two ways about it. And yeah, look, listen, man of the match was Darren McCurry. I mean, he was just absolutely fantastic, wasn't he? Coming in on this rich vein of form from the National League. And he was just absolutely brilliant. There was no two ways about it. There really wasn't. You know, and you know, even the likes of Richie Donnelly as well, Paul Donaghy, although he only kicked 1 point, I thought was causing a couple of different problems for that Cavan team. And Matty Donnelly as well certainly deserves a big mention. He really does. A comment there from Dylan Duffy, who says, great win for Tyrone. Cavan, where the Cavan champions were dethroned by Tyrone there. Yeah, absolutely. They, you know, that's what happened. That is what happened. So Tyrone dethroned the reigning champions, of course, of last year. And look, listen, it was always going to be tough for Cavan. It was always going to be difficult for them. I really did expect that eventually, as the game would go on, Tyrone would peel away. And I think a common theme, even in the Cork Limerick game earlier today as well, was I think because there's no qualifiers as well, and maybe it's something we'll touch on maybe in future podcasts as well, is like there's just nothing for the players of the losing teams, the likes of your Cavans, your Limerick earlier today, you know, Wexford last week, although they kept going for a full 70 minutes, Waterford and whatnot, all these different counties. There's no qualifiers, there's nothing to work towards. It's not like you're working for a position on the team because you know you won't be playing again until 2022. So like, for a lot of those Cavan players maybe going into the final 5 to 10 minutes, are you going to work that extra yard? Are you going to make that extra tackle, you know, work that extra sweat? I just don't know if you are, because at the end of the day, there's nothing else to play for. And we could go on about it for ages. But fair play to Tyrone. When there was stages in the first half when Cavan looked like maybe they were going to make it difficult and they got in Tyrone's faces and the likes of Tommy Gallagher and whatnot made it difficult. Tyrone kept their composure and they managed to find the victory and book themselves into yet another Ulster semi-final. So, yeah, do let me know your comments down below, what you thought of the game. Fair play to Tyrone. Big victory, big win for them. They go on to an Ulster semi-final. My name is Aaron, and I'll see you later.